It's go like, "Ah." In this video, I'll explain what a narcissist is and how they became one, in my opinion. And number two in this was going to share the 40 signs. 40 signs. So there's going to be more that they may be narcissist or have narcissistic personality disorder. Just a disclaimer, I'm not a doctor and this is not medical advice, it's just food for thought. If this is your first time here, my name is Rich Taylor. I'm the host of the Stress-Free Diet, where we teach people how to eliminate stress from their lives so they can live healthy lifestyles and reach their goal weight. I've also co-written 2 books, Stress for You and Stress Free Work, both available on Amazon. If you look at the typical definition of what a narcissist is, it says, personality qualities including thinking very highly of oneself, needing admiration, believing others are inferior, and lacking empathy for others. Well, if you read that, it's so general, it's accurate, but I want to get drilled down and get very specific with 40 real life examples that you can understand what these people are, how these people are narcissists. But I want to start with the elephant in the room that nobody ever sees. Rational people use facts from the rational part of the brain. Narcissists are using distorted emotions from an entirely different part of the brain. That's why it's such a painful process when you're dealing with a narcissist. They have defense mechanisms built in to idolize themselves so they do not have to face their own flaws. My opinion, and it's just my opinion, is that chronic stress combined with unresolved physical or emotional trauma is what creates people into narcissists. They're not born that way. An example is a river with a dam. Now, the dam symbolizes the emotional trauma that the narcissists experience, and the water symbolizes the stress. Now, the faster the water's running or the more stress you have in your life, the more pressure it's going to put on that dam and the emotional trauma. And that's why it builds up in a narcissist's life, and they need to release that. The narcissist is looking for relief in any way they can. And the only way they really understand releasing that trauma is to get in an argument. And that's how they can also retain control. And that leaves unsuspecting people, which we call empaths, to get swept away. They go in thinking that they're going to help, and they just get drawn in, and boom. Narcissists always seek out empaths because they're kind and forgiving nature. They're kind of like unsuspecting. They don't look at the problems. They're just positive, happy-go-lucky people. But everyone, especially empaths, have a breaking point, and they can get pushed to that. And that's the narcissist's goal, is to make sure that they reach that breaking point. And as we've all heard, misery loves company. The anxiety that narcissists have is because they've been stuck in the sympathetic response of the automatic nervous system, which is fight or flight or freeze. This causes people to be very short-sighted because when you're in that kind of response, you're in a survival response. And that's great for getting you out of danger for 60 seconds, but not to keep you in that continuously. And when you're in that continuous state of fight, fight, or freeze, you have no past, you have no future, you're only in the present. So that's why people who are narcissists don't remember all the stuff they had in the past that they've done wrong, or they don't even care about the future. They just want to deal with the nasty now and now. Okay? And a narcissist has basically 2 goals. And it's very simple. Goal number 1, to stay in control. Goal number 2, to get in an argument with an empath so they can release their emotional baggage. It's kind of like a hot potato. If someone threw a hot potato at you, you'd be like, I got it, let me get rid of it. That's the way a narcissist is. They have all that built up trauma and drama, and they want to unload it on someone. We've all heard the expression, hurt people hurt people. They want to unload that emotional pain. And they are experts. And I should capitalize the word experts at baiting people into getting into arguments with them. They use all kinds of dark techniques to bait that person to an argument. And it's happened to me so many times. And if you tend to be a very, very rational very rational person, I should say, or rational people, it's like your brain is wired to solving problems. Well, that's not the way a narcissist looks. A narcissist looks like getting that person hooked in so they can draw them in to twist them into an argument so they can relieve the pain for them. Understand, empaths, rational people, and narcissists are worlds apart. The empath is in the rational world. The narcissist is in the emotional world. It's two different things, like speaking two different languages. You're not going to communicate in a normal, healthy way. The more you push back to them, the more they'll attack you. It's like trying to put a fire out with gasoline. The narcissist is in total denial. I mean, their only understanding of denial is the big river in Egypt. Okay? They're not understanding where they're coming from. You can't fix a narcissist. You just can't. You're not, unless you're a psychologist, most people are not geared to fix the narcissist. As much as we want to help them, we can't. But you can fix your response to them. That's why I come up with 40 real-life examples of how you can spot a narcissist and how you can protect yourself from them. These are real life. These are not from a textbook. These are real life. And they're not listed in any specific order. They're just things that I've experienced with spending almost 70 years on the planet. And I've gotten sucked into a lot of these things so many times and found myself at the end of the argument like, how did I get pulled into that? So do yourself a favor. Help yourself not get pulled into an argument. And number one is called out of the blue. A narcissist will say weird stuff just trying to derail the rational person so they can get in an argument. Example, you could be driving along and say, oh, that looks nice. And they'll come back with saying something like, oh, it looks terrible. Or it looks like they were like put together with Tic Tac or something like that. They'll just say something out of the blue. And you're like, what was, and that's just to derail the rational thinking to suck you into an argument. Number two, I call smoke screens. You'll be having a conversation with them. It's going along normal. And sometimes even in group settings, an example, they'll just like say something like to confuse the situation, throw smoke in it to make it distorted. And like you could be talking about going on a trip to Europe, and they'll come up with saying like, did you know the rat population in Europe has doubled in the last 2 years? You're like, how? Oh, what? And that's done for two reasons. One, to derail the conversation, and two, so they can maintain control. To a narcissist, control is everything, okay? And when they lose control, they'll attack you with a vengeance. Number three, redirect attention. So they always want the attention back on themselves. It's all about them. They're in panic mode. They're in fight or flight or freeze. They actually feel like they're in danger. So if you're in danger, you want to have as much control of your life as you can. If that goes for every one of us. If you feel danger, you want to do it. But for them, this is an emotional trauma, a distorted reality that they're facing. So they want to always have the control back in their life. So they'll always say things to redirect the conversation back to them. You could be sitting there having a meal together and everyone's talking, maybe the narcissist isn't talking, and the narcissist will do things like, take a bite of their food, put them out, go, oh, that's hot. And I've even seen narcissists do this where they've been eating for 5 or 6 minutes. They've eaten half their meal, so the meal's not hot anymore, and they'll do that and they'll just take a bite and go, oh, just so they can have attention drawn back on themselves. Or the conversation will be going in a very positive direction, and they'll get up and say something like, oh, why is this spot on the wall? It's like, and you're like, well, what's that got to do with it? Kind of going with the smoke screen. Next one I call Johnny Opposite. This one will drive you nuts if you don't be careful about it. Whatever anyone else will say, they'll say the opposite, and usually focus on a negative. Example, you could be outside and you can say, what a beautiful blue sky. And they'll say, but, oh, look, there's a little cloud over there. And it'll probably turn into rain in a little bit. And you're like, oh. And it's usually towards the negative. They'll always come up with something opposite. Whatever you say. Go out and sit in the sun. Oh, no, you do that, your sun will turn into a raisin. Your skin will turn into raisin. They'll always say something, and it's usually out of the blue, like we said before. Next one I call number 5 is hair trigger response. Whenever you question a narcissist about something, you want to just say, why did you buy this? Or why did you do this? Or they'll have a hair trigger response faster than I think the highest computer, fancy, expensive computer in the world could respond. They're almost like artificial intelligence. They'll come up with something so fast to explain it, and it won't make any sense, but it'll be a response, and it'll usually be a defensive response. Oh, why did you buy this? Because I'm trying to keep Walmart in business. I don't think Walmart needs any help us buying stuff, keep them in business. So it's going to be weird, it's going to be wacky, but it'll be hair trigger. And when you see that, you ask a rational person why they did something, and they'll come, well, I did it because I thought X, Y, and Z. You're not going to get X, Y, and Z. You're just going to get X. Okay? So understand hair trigger response. Number 6, the dump on. Every narcissist has someone they dump on, the empaths. They are experts at seeking out passive individuals that will put up with their nonsense. And so they'll always find, they may not do it on everybody, but they'll always look for the most calm and assuming person, and they'll dump on them. And they dump on people because they've got a lot of stuff to dump. They want to unload their baggage. Number 7, no praise. A narcissist would rather drink straight vinegar than offer heartfelt praise on someone, especially on the dump on or the empath. That's just not it's not gonna happen. They have no praise. So don't be looking. If your love language is words of encouragement, you don't want to be with a narcissist because you're not going to get any. It's going like, don't do it. Number 8, echo chamber. The narcissist will almost always say exactly like an echo what you said to them. I'm going to the store. Oh, you're going to the store? Yeah, I'm going to the store. I just said that. Oh, okay. They always have to affirm that. And the reason is because they want to be in control and they always want to have the last words. Number 9, closed-minded. The narcissist will not entertain any suggestions from others, even if they make sense, because when they're in that stress response, the rational part of the brain is turned off. It's called the amygdala hack. It's only concerned with survival, fight, flight, or freeze. So when someone's like that, their mind, the rational part of the mind is totally closed off. They're not going to give you any openings with that, and because they're in survival mode. They're not bad people. They're just trying to survive. But unfortunately, they're doing it in a way that's not healthy for society. Number 10, driving you crazy. If you get in a car with a narcissist, if you're driving and they're not, they'll drive you crazy. You need to get over. You're going to, in 2.3 miles, you're going to be getting off. Or can you go faster? You can go slower. And then if they're looking at their phone and you happen to put the brakes on, they're like, oh, what are you doing? Oh my gosh. Or like, oh, wow, that was too fast what you did. Or you changed lanes too quickly. They'll be like, talk about backseat driver. They'll just drive you crazy. Yeah. It'll turn on you. Number 11, no joy. Narcissist has 0, with a capital ZERO, sense of humor, because their life is full of misery. Laughing would mean being out of control. You could have a group of people, and someone tells a joke that's funny, and everyone just bursts out laughing. And the narcissist will usually be the one person that like either chuckling or not laughing. They just won't even laugh because they have no sense of humor. And this makes it even worse or even more obvious. After the joke is told and everyone stops laughing, they'll come back and be the announcer. They'll say, oh, Rich just told a funny story. Ha ha. That was very funny. It's almost like they go into Botox brain, how they have to like discuss what just happened. It's a funny joke, laugh. But no, they have to take control of that because everyone having a good time drives them crazy, okay, because they're narcissists. So no sense of humor. And it's very sad going through life without any sense of humor. And as more and more people become narcissists, with all the pressure and stress we have in the world, it'd be really sad if nobody has sense of humor. And, one of the greatest ways of getting rid of stress is to have a good laugh. Number 12, I call this one fishing expositions. Fishing expeditions. There's probably an exposition of expeditions. You could be sitting next to a narcissist, minding your own business, totally out of the blue. They'll ask you a question like, are you mad at me? Are you upset with me? And you're like, what? They're doing that because A, they want to retain control. They can't stand silence because they are really big into words. Okay, words are big. When they're speaking words, it means a lot. Your words mean nothing, but their words mean everything. Okay, and so they want to retain control of everything, and they want to potentially goad you into an argument because remember, that's their two goals. Okay, so they're always fishing for that. Number 13, clueless. If something happens to a narcissist, especially if they've caused a problem, they have no idea how it happened. I once worked with this guy who did all kind of weird stuff, okay? And after the problem was manifested, he would come back to a group of us and say, how did this happen? But I'm like, Jack, you were the one that caused it. But no one would ever tell Jack that because Jack wouldn't believe it, okay? So that's just something to know. They're clueless, you know. Number 14, emotional vomit. The narcissist has the ability to say something and attach all the pain in the world they have to it. They could say something like, someone might say, you caused this. That's like a person could say that. But a narcissist would say, you caused this. Okay, they're going to take all their emotional pain and funnel it through the words so that when you get it, you feel like you've just felt every pain that they had in life. They're looking to unload their stuff, okay? So that's what the emotional vomit is. Number 15, throw you under the bus. Since the narcissist never makes any mistakes, they'll blame innocent people for their faults. So they'll not have to look guilty. And there's no empathy, so they don't have any problem with collateral damage. Number 16, liar, liar. The narcissist will blatantly lie from appearing to have done something wrong. For them to admit doing something wrong is like they just can't because it doesn't exist. So they are blatantly lying. I've seen them lie their face off just because they don't want to admit they've done something wrong. It's like they're in a desperate situation and they will do anything to get out of it. Even if you have a videotape proving that they, without a doubt or question, that they made a lie, they'll come back with a flood of excuses or just freeze up. They'll still not admit that they lied. That's how bad it is, okay? Number 17, worst case scenario. They never see the positive side of anything. They'll always see the worst side of anything. It's always the worst. They'll always see that. What happens? Oh yeah, if this happens, everything will fall apart. No, it might be a bad thing for a short period of time, but it's not the worst case scenario. Number 18, spit into the wind. Whatever you say to a narcissist that's even slightly critical will come back to you with twice, 4 times, 10 times, 20 times the power. They view everything as a threat and an opportunity to channel pain on you. So if you spit in the wind, it's going to come back. So whatever you say slightly critical, you could say something very slightly critical. It'll come back 10 times more as an attack on you because they're just highly defensive about everything they do and they say. Number 19, change of plans. This will drive the narcissist out of their mind. Any change of plans. You could say, okay, you could have agreed with the narcissist that at 7 o'clock you're going to go to dinner. And at 6:30, all of a sudden something comes up. The babysitter got canceled or weather or car or whatever situation, and you can't leave at 7 o'clock, okay? It's physical reasons that you can't. Out of your control. I mean, stuff happens. And yet that will drive them crazy because once it's set in their mind like concrete, they can't stand any change because that means they're out of control. So, yeah, and you just upset their mental apple cart, and that's not a good thing, okay? Number 20, the blame game. They'll blame the empaths for everything because they don't ever do anything wrong. They will make sure that they just blame. Why did you do this? Or why did you do that? And you're like, I didn't do anything, okay? They will blame everybody for everything because they don't do anything wrong. Number 21, buckle down. No matter how hard you try to get the narcissist to admit that they made a mistake, they only dig their heels in deeper. You be like, but you did do this. And no. So just understand, you're only making matters worse for yourself. You're giving them more stress relief, but you're paying the price, okay? Number 22, bottomless pit. We think, okay, these people have had a tough life. So if I just love them, give them stuff, find out what their love language is, shower them with everything, they'll finally not be a narcissist anymore. And they will like it, but they won't really appreciate it. And they're like bottomless pits. You could just if someone likes flowers, you can send them 1,000 flowers. You could spend $1 million on them. You could spend $10 million. It's a bottomless pit because they have root issues, okay? And all this other stuff that you're trying to bless them with would make other people happy, but you can't take an unhappy person who's unhappy in the core and make them happy with Band-Aids. It just doesn't work. You're just going to spend a lot of money and a lot of effort. So it's like a bottomless pit. And it might give you temporary relief, but it's not long lasting, okay? It's going to go whoop, boom, back to where they were. Number 23, demon rally. They will call people up and talk crap about other people. They love to demonize other people. Look, we all have flaws. We all aren't perfect, okay? Nobody is. But they will focus on those flaws and make them into big deals. And they could talk for hours and hours and hours about other people's flaws. Never their own, but they can talk for hours about other people's flaws. And that's why I call it a demon rally. Number 24, tired and sulking. They are always tired. And I'm going to explain why they're always tired. When you're in defense mode, okay, put it this way, our daily lives takes a lot of energy as it is, especially in a stressful world. But if you're fighting two battles, one battle is just getting through the day, and the second battle is feeling that everybody is against you and that you're a victim, okay, then that takes, and you have this chip on your shoulder, that takes a lot of energy, okay? So that's why narcissists are always tired and exhausted. And sometimes, quite often, they'll reach for unhealthy foods because, again, they're in a stress response, so they're going to go for the quick foods, the highly glycemic foods, the fattening foods, because they want that little burst of dopamine so that they can feel better immediately. And again, that's going to affect their weight. But anyway, and then they sulk a lot. They will sulk a lot. After before they even get in arguments, they're sulking. They're just down, okay? So that's the thing. Number 25, and this is a big one. This brings a lot of problems. Unfaithful. Narcissists feel that they've been hurt in the past and the world owes them a favor. So if they're not getting what they can get from their relationship, or they're married, or if they're dating or whatever, they'll be unfaithful. They'll cheat on their spouse. They'll cheat on their children, whatever. I mean, they'll cheat, It could be sexually, it could be emotionally, it could be financially. They're going to cheat because they've been harmed in their mind, and the whole world owes them what they deserve. And if they're not getting what they want, then they deserve to get, in their mind, what they need. And if that means cheating on their spouse or whatever, they'll do it. Number 26, they won't forgive or forget. Again, like I said before, because they only live in the nasty now, they have no memory of all the nasty things they did to other people. But they won't forgive the things or forget the things that you did. Double standard, but that's true. So they won't forgive or forget. Number 27, and this one probably should have been number 1. They're easily offended. I mean, even the slightest criticism you give to them, it's like taking, it just blows up. It's like lighting up a helium balloon. It's like that. They're super easily offended. And not only are they easily offended, but they'll give you the payback. You could make a suggestion. I noticed you did this on this project. Can you correct this? Oh, yeah? Well, guess what? You did all these things wrong. Or they'll come up with some excuse. It's just, and you're like overwhelmed, like, no, you just fix this. It's a very minor thing, okay? But they're easily offended, okay? Number 28, This is a strange one, and you'll understand when I have to explain it. They feel better after they get in an argument with you. Normally, if you've been in an argument with someone, the empath, the rational person feels pretty crappy because they just been, a lot of stuff has been just thrown around, okay? Not the narcissist. They feel better after an argument. And why is that? They feel better because they unloaded all their baggage on you. They actually have a smile on their face. This is one of the few times I've seen narcissists feel better is after an argument, especially after big arguments, okay? So that's how serious this is. Number 29, they have problems with relationships. They don't have a lot of friends. They don't have a lot of close friends. And they'll turn on friends. And again, because they never make mistakes, so someone else has to have the problem. So they're constantly, and not only are they don't have a lot of friends, they will make sure that they'll take other people who have friends and try to pit themselves against each other so that they don't have friends. I mean, nobody's going to have, if I can't have friends, nobody can have friends. That's the way a narcissist looks at it. So they definitely have problems with relationships, and especially in relationships like marriage or as being a parent of a child or being a child for a parent or boyfriend, girlfriend, or in working relationships in business or in neighborhoods, just being neighbors. They have a lot of problems, okay? And that could be one side that they could be a narcissist. Number 30, lack of empathy. This is another big one. They just have no capacity to feel any empathy for other people. They feel a lot for themselves, but they have zero at all for other people. 31, they hate to be ignored. If they're being ignored, they're not in control. And that just drives them crazy. They need constant praise and adoration from other people. Oh, you're such a wonderful person. So they're like looking for praise. They're seeking praise. So they hate to be ignored, okay? Number 32, they'll make you pay for everything. Oh, and I don't mean just financially. They'll make you pay emotionally. If they're feeling pain, they're going to make you feel that pain back. They're going to make sure they're not going to hold it. They're going to, like the hot potato, they're going to throw it at you and make sure you get every bit of pain they have. And they're not going to stop until they've let it all out. Number 33, their public persona. This means a lot to a narcissist. You don't ever want to even slightly embarrass them at home, in private, especially in public. If you even slightly embarrass them in public, they'll make you know about it, and they will attack you with a vengeance. Oh, they will get at you. And if you do this, like send an email out, like a group email out to people at work, and you maybe say something slightly derogatory about one of the people in email, and if they happen to be a narcissist, oh, they will come back at you like you never believed. Now, a normal, rational person will be like, oh, I did that wrong. I'm glad you pointed it out so I can correct it. Not a narcissist. Oh, they'll make you pay. Okay. Number 34, spending money. A lot of people who are narcissists have a lot of problems with debt. They do it because they feel they are entitled to spending money on themselves. And in some relationships, they'll spend a lot of money on themselves and not on the other person because they deserve it, because it's all about them. So a lot of these people will run up debt, and they will also do it with no thought of even worrying about how to pay it. It's like, I want to get this now. They live in the moment because they're in survival mode. Okay, so like I said, and the thought of paying off a credit card, that's not their problem. Yeah, they're paying all this interest every month, but I need this, and I need this now. They have high level anxiety, a lot of these people, and when you're in anxiety, like I said, there's no past. You don't think about your mistakes, and there's no future. You're just thinking about the now and now. Number 35, people pleasers. They really don't like people, but they do things for people so those people would like them. It's about them. So they will give gifts to people with the goal of them saying, oh, you're such a wonderful, I love you so much. You know, they'll do things for people so that the people will like them. And also, They will do nice things for people so that people will buy into them, so that they can then get them to be an empath, so that at some point they can then dump on them. I know, twisted. Number 36, what they can't control, they destroyed. They need to be in control. If something is in control and they're in control of it, they're like a pig in mud. They love it. But if something gets out of control and they can't handle it, it'll blow up. They will not only get angry, they'll try to destroy the whole thing. I've seen people with family get-togethers literally walk away, leave the family in another city just because they couldn't handle it. It's that, I mean, I've seen crazy cases of this, okay? Or they'll just yell and scream and embarrass everybody. So literally, what they can't control, they will destroy. Number 37, never admit they're wrong. A narcissist never can do anything wrong, so why should they ever admit they do anything wrong? They won't. And if you ever question them, they'll say things like, well, I thought you were going to do this, or I thought you were going to do this, or I thought you were going to do this. They'll never admit they're wrong. They never will. So, and if you press them, you'll pay for it. So don't. Number 38, they're in a constant state of rebellion. They are. I mean, the world has done stuff to them, and they need to make things right, and they're going to be in a constant state of rebellion. And, kids could be in a natural state of rebellion when they're growing up and discovering who they are, kind of pulling away from their parents, which is a natural, healthy thing for people to do, because that's how you become your own person. But narcissists are doing it because they want to get even with the pain and trauma that they suffered. Okay. Number 39, they have zero patience. Narcissists are people that have high levels of anxiety, and when you have high levels of anxiety, you have no patience for other people, especially if you're self-grandizing yourself. So, when you're in anxiety, your constant stress response, you just have zero patience. So and they don't want to wait for anything. It's like, hurry up. If you get to a red light, it's almost like, come on, let's go. They have zero patience. Number 40, they walk around with a chip on their shoulder. The world owes them because they've had emotional trauma, and everyone owes them back from the pain and suffering that they had. Well, so that's why they walk around with an emotional chip on their shoulder. They're basically, I have this chip and I have a right to have it on my shoulder, and I dare you to knock it off because I suffered trauma. And they're going to bring up their past history of all the past things that have done to them, blah, 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 blah. Look, we've all had stuff happen to us, okay? In life, the greatest stories of greatest accomplishments of people, you'll usually hear they had really bad childhoods and they overcame it. It's the overcoming that bad childhood, or overcoming that bad situation that happened to you, that made you into a great person. But if you just dwell on the bad stuff that happened to you, you become a narcissist. And that makes it tough on people, all of us around. So that's the top 40. I know there's more. Send me an email at info@stressfreeyou.net, or go to our website, stressfreediet.com, and post a comment. Or on the YouTube video, just put in the comments below what you think are some signs that other people are narcissists, okay? So I hope this helps, and there'll be another series after this. In closing, I just want to share that people who are narcissistic or have narcissistic personality disorder or have varying degrees of it, some more than others, they need help. They're no different than someone who's a diabetic or someone has a heart issue or a kidney issue. They need medical attention because they're hurting. They're hurting psychologically, emotionally. It's no different if someone's hurting physically. They need help, and they need our prayers. So the goal of this video is not to beat up on them. It's just to bring awareness to you. If you're one of the empaths and you thought you're going crazy, then hopefully this just make you aware of it, and so that you're not trying to put fuel on the fire by arguing with them. And you need to protect yourself emotionally, but also see if you can help them get help. The goal is just to bring healing for everybody, and they should be in our prayers. We should not be angry at them. Just hope this brings some understanding to the whole situation.